Dearest listeners,
Book babes and book bros.
welcome to Book Babble. I'm Rachel,
And I'm Tanya, and we're the Witlit Women, your hosts for the day.
and today we have a special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Penn Cole. I am author of the Kindred's Curse Saga, which begins with book one, Spark of the Everflame. It's a new adult romantasy series. Originally came out in 2023, but it has been re-released in the last few months since I got picked up by a traditional publisher.
Yes, and if you haven't read it, you really need to because it's one of my favorite romantasy series. Um, that's
Thank
what I
you.
would like everyone to do if that's the only takeaway from this interview today. Anyway, Pin, we're so happy to have you on. Are you ready to babble?
I think so. We'll find out, I guess.
All right, I'm so excited. I'm gonna get the 5 minutes put on the clock now.
All right. So my first question is almost always, what inspired you to write the series?
A lot of things. I can't say the exact thing because it's a huge spoiler, but if you've read the book, the scene that happens at the very, very end is was kind of the first thing that I thought of like, what does a world look like where this is a thing that could happen and like what are the consequences of that? But I also just really wanted to write a really, really slow burn romantasy, like the slowest one I could possibly write. And I also wanted to deal with a lot of current cultural issues like, the generational effects of colonization and discrimination and gender roles and all of these different things that I think we're all thinking really heavily about these days, but in a fantasy context where people can maybe think about them divorced from sort of the baggage that they bring in to the book.
I love that. Oh my gosh, there's more I'm gonna have to ask you about that. But are there any other secrets or Easter eggs that are hidden throughout your books that you can give us
Oh,
kind of a
yes.
little hint for?
There are so many. One of my favorite things about writing is hiding the little, clues and things. When I read through, especially the first chapter of Spark, I see so many hidden things that have meaning to me, but the readers don't necessarily know them yet.
Mhm.
I think one of the most fun things for me is that there's how do I say this without giving it away? There's a particular symbol that shows up repeatedly in Spark that if you've made it all the way to book three, you know what the symbol is, but it's been there from the very beginning, and people didn't realize like how meaningful that symbol was until very late into the series.
Awesome. Well, thank you for letting us know. I'm going to do some digging because I have read all three of them, but now I'm like, did I actually pick up on that? Also, Sarah has joined us. She is one of our co-hosts as well. So Sarah, you can hop in with the next question.
Um, I'm not, I missed the first couple questions you asked, so if this is a repeat, let me know. I would love to know if any of your characters are inspired by someone that you know in real life.
I think they're all inspired by sort of groups of people that I know. Like Diem for me is very much like all of my female friends that I've ever had and the struggles that they've gone through and the self-doubt that they battle with and sort of finding their place in the world. Not like a specific person, but just something I think that a lot of women my age and have gone through. I think probably if there's anything that's like the closest comparison, I think Taryn is a lot like my husband, which Taryn is a character who starts showing up in books two and three. And my husband is very much like a golden retriever, and that's very Taryn as well. I
I
like to
love
say he
Taryn.
has like the humor of Taryn and the devotion of Luther, so he's like best of both worlds.
Yes, I love him.
So the next question is, do you have any advice for writers, for people who want to publish and to be like you?
I have so much advice. I'll try and be quick with it. I think probably the best advice I can give is that self-doubt is going to come. Imposter syndrome hits every single author, no matter how successful they are, whether they're, the best bestseller that ever was or just starting out, we all go through it. So when the time inevitably comes where you feel like I'm terrible at this, everybody else is a really good author, but I actually am really bad. This book isn't good. Nobody's going to want to read it. Just know that, like, whoever your favorite author is, they have probably those exact same thoughts still today. because they don't go away with success. So just try and keep your eyes on your paper, like focus on the goal of getting your book out into the world and try not to listen to all the negative thoughts in your own head.
I love
That
that.
is sound advice. I love that. Okay, I'm going to try to fit one more in. Since we talked about characters inspired by people that you know, are there any that you're like you identify with the most or that was were inspired by you?
Uh, it's ironic because I just said Taryn's like my husband. I think Taryn's also like me. He's kind of like me in male form. Very just irreverent, very like can't take anything too seriously. So I think that I definitely see a lot of myself in all of the women in the book. To some extent, Diem, but she's very different from me. But also just little bits of me, I think, are in all of the different women, Eleanor and Alix and Lily. And um, I think every author puts a little bit of themselves in every character they write.
I love that as well. That's very true also. Okay, well, Penn, you made it through our 5 minute AMA, so
Okay. Whew.
congratulations. Woo! No more beeping timer. But we'll put this on our social channels and then the entire interview is gonna go on like Spotify, YouTube, those things. So we'll just keep chatting. I wanted to quickly return to what you answered to question one. You said that the final scene is what inspired you. Are you talking about the final scene from book three?
No, from book one.
Oh, from
So
book one.
the
Okay.
big thing that happens to Diem, the kind of well, you know, if you've read the book,
Yeah.
that was actually supposed to be one of the first scenes because the story originally started there, and Glow was actually supposed to be the first book in the series.
Oh.
But as I started writing, I realized about halfway through writing Glow that I needed to start earlier and we needed to see more before that happened. And so I set that aside and I started on Spark and wrote that with like half of Glow already written. So it was a little out of order.
Wow. I'm honestly so glad you did it that way
Yeah.
because also calling back to how you said you wanted like the slowest of burns, that extra book really enforced the slow burn. Like
Yeah.
it would not have that was like it wasn't it was just the most tense. Oh my gosh. Like in the
Good. That's what
best
I like to
way.
hear.
In the best way though.
I wanted to see like how long I could get away with going without readers giving up on me. So that I feel like I accomplished that.
You
Oh
did a
yeah.
You did the right
phenomenal
thing.
job. I was obsessed. I was just like turning pages, waiting for everything to happen. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like building up. It's building up. When is it gonna
Mhm.
happen? But it was amazing. You did a great job.
Thank
I
you.
actually see slow burn used as a trope in so many books, like to market them, and then I'll read them and I'm like, this is not slow burn.
Yeah.
Like Penn Cole is slow burn, this is not slow burn. I
Yeah.
always compare it.
That's like part of why I wanted to write this series because I love a slow burn and I was always looking for them and people would say, "Oh, this one's a slow burn." And they're together by like 60% into book 1. Like that's
Yeah.
not it's not a slow burn. Like if we're not suffering for at least 2 books, I'm not happy. And so I really struggled to find series, especially in romantasy, that were kind of the slow burn that I was looking for. And so I said, okay, well then I'll write one myself.
I mean, you did the job.
Yeah.
I have never read a book with a slow burn like that, and it was intense. It was amazing.
I
I
love
loved
it.
it so
Good.
much. Also, side note, Luther Corbois,
Mm,
Chef's Kiss, one of my favorite MMCs of all time.
He's
The way
so
yes.
that
good.
man, so Sarah and I are in a group chat and we talked about this. The way this man is just so down bad for his
He
lady.
really is.
Oh my gosh. How did you come up with that? Is it just like, I don't know, how did you come up with all of his characteristics and write someone like that?
Um, so have you ever read Shatter Me, the series Shatter Me?
I haven't, but I've heard about it, so I
So
know what
good.
it's about. Yeah.
It's so good. So the MMC, well, one of the MMCs, because there's a little bit of a love triangle, is he is like the absolute epitome of I hate everyone but her. You know, like he truly does not care if anybody else lives or dies except for her. And he's very blunt about not caring about anyone else but this woman that he's, infatuated with. And he's so grumpy. He's so cranky and hard to get along with. But when it comes to her, he's like putty in her hands. You know what I mean? He'll do anything for her. And it's really cute. It's like I love reading it. I'm giggling just thinking about it now. And so, but it's a YA series, and they're like 16 or something. And I always thought, like, I want to write a version of this character if he grew up and got therapy. Like, who would he become if he was not quite so, broken a little bit in the head? And so that was kind of like the nugget that Luther grew around. Like, I knew I wanted him to be kind of this, like, grumpy, like shows no emotion, really doesn't seem to like care about anybody except for his sister is like his soft spot, and then, hopefully eventually Diem. And so I that was kind of like what I started building him around. And then I thought, okay, here's this guy who has been raised to believe he's the next king from like age 8 or something. And that's all he's ever been to anyone is the next king. And that has very much shaped his life. This sense of obligation and duty and being shoved into this little box of like, that's all you can be. And also having every eye on the kingdom on him all the time, while also harboring a lot of secrets and things that he can't tell people, that very much affect his view of himself and the world and his future. And so he has to kind of play this part, not knowing if it's actually going to come to pass or not, but also knowing that he has like this hidden agenda too, that he has to, keep working towards, that he can't tell anybody about. And so that was kind of like, okay, what is this guy? If that's the character, who is he? How does that affect his personality, how he interacts with other people, how other people interact with him? And that was just a really fun thing to unpack and say, who is this man that lives in this sort of situation?
So I think you did that perfectly as well. Literally just like hyping you up this entire interview, but it's fine because I am absolutely in love with the Everflame series, the Kindred Curse saga. Like, oh, you did a perfect job.
Thank you.
I have
So
a question.
yeah.
I would like to know if you have plans for more books in this universe.
That's what I was
Hmm.
about to ask too.
So kind of. It will not be the next thing I write for sure. I need a break. I need to write something new and a new world. So this will for sure be the end of the story for these characters.
Okay.
And I believe in like nice, clean endings. At the end of a series, obviously I love a cliffhanger within a series. But like for a final book, it will be like a true final book where we're not really leaving things unaddressed. But completely against my will, I've said I would not write any spin-offs to this world. And against my will, my brain is like drafting one, like coming up with some ideas for other things. So I actually am putting in a few little Easter eggs into Burn that could eventually become a spin-off series someday. But it would be new characters set in the future. Um, yeah, I don't want to say too much about it, but maybe. The short answer is maybe. We'll see.
The way I'm
The
going to go back
Swiftie and me
through,
will be looking for the Easter eggs.
yes, the
Yeah.
way I'm going to go back through every single book now and just like try to find little hints anywhere I can.
Yeah. If it happens, it'll be really fun because I've like hidden little clues in there. So we'll see.
Oh, Sarah, we need to do a reread.
I know, I love that.
Well, we are almost out of time. So, is there anything that you wanted to talk about, Penn? Anything that you wanted to tell your readers?
Well, I have a few appearances coming up this year. So I'll be on tour in the UK in July, going to, I think, 6 different cities in the UK.
Wow.
And I will be in the US in August and September for the Everflame Ball, which is August 30th. It's a fantasy ball themed to my series. It's in Castle Rock, Colorado on August 30th. I'm super, super excited. We have a ton of surprises in store for the people who are coming. So I cannot wait for that. And then I'll be at Villains and Vixens in Dallas, Texas, which is my hometown. So I'm really, really pumped about that on September, I think it's September 3rd. And then we're working on some other appearances, hopefully by the end of the year. So we'll see what comes.
You have such a lineup on the way of appearances. Villains and
Yeah.
Vixens is going to be awesome. And the Everflame Ball, oh my gosh.
We also have I have a couple of events in France and one in Italy as well for the rest of the year, but I don't have dates on those. So my website, pencole.com/appearances is where I have all of my upcoming events.
I'll be in Italy in October.
Oh, well, I have no idea what the date is, so I
I'll
cannot
be
tell
keeping an
you.
eye out.
But yeah, yeah, definitely watch my socials or my website.
Oh my gosh, Pin, we're so excited for you. And thank you so much for coming on. I may reach out, probably will reach out again, especially after Burn comes out, just to see
Mhm.
if we can chat again because we loved having you.
Absolutely. I'd love to be back.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for coming on, and I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye.